would. It's the Vegemite Chip Show, starring me. And now, I'll be the first contestant to bite a Chips Ahoy cookie without biting a chip. I bit a chip, but I'm cool. Hey, it's like a chocolate chip party going on here.
Sam, your homework.
Chips Ahoy, original in the blue bag, new improved chewy in the red. Bet you bite a chip.
The day Birdie the early bird learned how to fly, starring Ronald McDonald and friends.
Look, it's Birdie.
Long ago on a day bright and blue.
Rubble, rubble. Oh, Ronald, I'll never learn how to fly.
We'll help you. You flap your wings while we toss you up and down.
So she flapped, and they tossed, but...
I'm still on the ground.
Hamburglar gave her a balloon, but it went boom. Then Grimace had a plan.
How about a fan?
But nothing worked. She couldn't fly.
Oh, Birdie, don't cry.
I'll walk. That's the way it'll be.
Try once more, just for me.
And me?
Rubble me.
I'm trying for you. Trying for you. Oh, I'm flying.
So Birdie flew in true early bird style. Up, down, for miles and miles.
Wow, flying is grand.
Birdie, we miss you.
Okay.
It's a good time for a great taste.
Now who's gonna teach me how to land?
At McDonald's.
Now that we're parents, we better learn to cook.
First lesson, make sure your peanut butter's chipped.
The difference is chips, peanuttier taste. It says you mean the world to me.
More peanutty than any other milk brand we've tried.
For your special ones, it's the taste for peanutty.
Being a parent myself, I've tried all the big brands, and Jif has more fresh roasted peanut taste.
Marvelous.
Peanutty chips.
Not in front of the children. Oh.
There's good things in the middle of old cereal.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, what a taste. There's good things in the middle of old cereal.
Oh.
Oh, what a taste.
Oh.
Oh, those O's of Quaker Oats and corn, filled with honey, graham, and other good things.
Taste that center place. There's good things in the middle of old cereal.
Honey graham or crunchy nut from Quaker.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, what a taste.
Don't be fooled into thinking that a drink will make your problems go away. Hey, it won't. Alcohol only adds another problem. Be smart. Don't start.
Hamburger University with Ronald McDonald.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, Ronald.
Today's subject, the Hamburglar. The Hamburglar is very clever and very sneaky.
The Hamburglar!
And he loves taking McDonald's hamburgers. So, what should you yell when you see it?
Help, Ronald, sailor!
That's right.
Uh-oh.
Hamburglar.
It's a good time for the great
You've got a lot to learn.
Don't take burgers, Rubble Rubble.
McDonald's.
It's time for... It's time for the baby's bottle. But for you, it's Honey Nut Cheerios.
It's time to tempt your tummy
Time for golden honey and crunchy nuts.
with a taste of nuts and honey. It's a honey oven oat. It's Honey Nut Cheerios.
Dinner's just been served, and the kid will stare at the plate and ask, "What's for dessert?" And you answer, "Jell-O pudding." And suddenly, your child loves broccoli. Jell-O pudding. You can't be a kid without it.
If I were to describe the taste of Dutch chocolate mint, I'd say it's like mint chocolate chip ice cream melting in a coffee cup.
Dutch chocolate mint, new from General Foods International Coffees.
It's like a candy cane dipped in Bosco. Yeah.
Strike up the band on Monday. CBS proudly presents Comedy with Kate and Alley at 8, 7 Central and Mountain. Plus Frank's Place at 8:30, 7:30 Central and Mountain. So strike up the band on Monday and laugh it up with us.
This is CBS.
Tulsa is a buyer's market. That's why for a limited time, Crockett Ellison is offering you the best deal in town. Right now, buy one of these brand new homes, some priced well below the builder's cost, and receive a free gift up to $1,000. Fencing, blinds, or drapes, furniture and appliances, anything you need up to $1,000. You can even use your outgrown home for a down payment. Houses are already reduced up to 17% of their appraised value. There are only 10 left. So call now at 495-3885 or drop by our growing neighborhood. Windsor Estates 2, 4.5 miles east of Memorial on 111.
Who could ever forget the sound of a great fish feast? Now, Long John Silver's presents all-you-can-eat crispy breaded fish, a classic collection of golden hits that never ends. That's right, all-you-can-eat for $3.99. You'll get big pieces.
He said,
Fries, fries,
"Take a
fries.
look at my fries, fries, fries."
And much more. Available only at Long John's, where the hits just keep on happening. Enter the Golden Hit Sweepstakes and get a $2 Musicland coupon when you buy an all-you-can-eat crispy breaded platter. Enter today.
Clayton Vaughn with the news. Tonight at 10.
Keebler presents the appealing taste of baked potato skins in a crunchy chip.
Potato skins got baked potato appeal because they're made with potatoes and skins that are real.
The Keebler elves make potato skin snack chips with real potatoes and skins.
Cheddar cheese and bacon, sour cream and chives, tasty baked potato.
And they finally got barbecue flavor too.
They're made with potatoes and skins that are real. Potato skins from Keebler, baked potato appeal.
Bonds have a beef about ground beef. We want Winn-Dixie's handy pack of pure ground beef because it's 15% leaner than the government requires. It's convenient, ready to freeze, and easy to slice into great tasting burgers. It makes great meatloaf.
Meatloaf?
And spaghetti.
Spaghetti!
But it's best for burgers. So pick the package that sits well with your buns. WD 100% pure ground beef from Winn-Dixie, America's supermarket.
Let's have fish this week.
Great! Go get Vandy Camps.
Vandy Camp's today's catch fillets taste remarkably fresh because they're frozen fresh. And they're easy to prepare. They go straight from the freezer to the pan to the plate. I think they're getting tired. Vandy Camps, the freshest ideas in frozen fish.
I'm not ready to go yet, okay? I'm not ready. You gotta wait. I got shit to do. I'm in the middle of something, all right? Just hold on.
Watch your mouth or don't come in here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, people, come on, we're adults here. You know what? What is the point?
Yeah, we're adults here. I got a fucking Burger King fucking thing on my head. We're all fucking adults here, guys. People in my chat, 2 words. What are they? 2 words. Let me see the chat flood. Let me see the chat flood. 2 words. Okay. Next caller. Please. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, which translate in American to dick and balls. I got flip-flops. These are my flip-flops. Yeah, I really like my flip-flops. Because I can put them on. Because look, watch me put them on. I can put them on all by myself. Watch me put them on. Look, are you watching? Look, these are my flip-flops. Thanksgiving Day. I remember it clearly. It was Thanksgiving Day. I was inserting myself in somebody else's fucking business as a cash grab, and you know. This channel is harsh reality. Karen Yak se jodió la sucia vida. Amen. This is Jonathan Lee Richards. I have cheeseburgers. I'm gonna put cheese on them. I'm gonna make sure that I have my hamburgers because I'm a big boy now and I can make the hamburgers. My mom lets me use the stove now.
And I'm just like, wow, I like receipts, and they brought receipts. Like,
they had evidence to back up everything they said, and I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be another side to this, right? Like this can't. No, this is too fantastic.
Yeah, because you're not going to just jump to the conclusion that there's a conspiracy amongst cops to cover up a murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean cops and just like soccer moms and shit. Like that's what made it even crazier. Like,
yeah, get it, Betty. Yeah,
did you have a close relationship with your mom?
Get it, Betty.
Oh, of course,
Get
I
it.
still do.
Yeah.
My older sister was kind of sad. She was more of the prissy girl, like going
That
and
is
getting
the
the hair
best
done,
shit fucking
shopping for the dresses with mommy. I was the tomboy that liked playing with the feet.
Shout out to Cherry for just being just easily the most faithful and loyal supporter that I've ever had. That someone could have that tenacity with loyalty. And I'm really blessed to have someone like Cherry be part of this channel and in my life. So it means a lot. And yes, I named him after Mr. T and Rocky. Say, woman. Say, woman. Say, woman. Since your old man ain't got no heart, why don't you come down to my apartment tonight and I'll show you a real man. Oh my God, I'm so in love with this little dude. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. I love you guys very, 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 very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends. Oh, say bye. Say bye. Oh, I love you too. Give me a kiss. Oh, I love you. Bye, guys. Woo! Good afternoon, people. Oh my goodness. It's great to see you all again for the second time today. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday so far. It was great to wake up and get to spend time with you guys first thing. It's not often I get to do that. Man, oh my God. Cherry. Okay, cool. Okay, so is that a yes? So anybody know for certain whether or not Turtleboy will be appearing on Howie Carr today? Okay, so yes. Do you have a time? 6:05? Is it the usual 6:05? Or be great if I had a time. 30 minutes. So 6:10? An exact time would be awesome, Cherry. Like awesome. 6:05. 6:05. Okay. So 25 minutes. Got it. Thank you, everyone except Cherry. 30-ish. Best moderator on YouTube right there, guys. That's what I get. 30-ish. Best mod on YouTube, folks. Give it up for the best mod on YouTube. 30-ish is what she gives me, folks. Oh man, I'm gonna be in trouble. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so listen, we're gonna go over man, I'm gonna be in trouble. Yes, guys, make sure to throw all the emojis up. How about jog on and check the link, twat? Yeah, but that's what I don't pay you for. So all right. So what we're gonna do, I haven't even eaten a gummy. What we're gonna do is we're gonna rewatch the hearing while we wait. um we're gonna rewatch the hearing while we wait. And then we're gonna listen to Howie Carr and Turtleboy, as we have been traditionally doing, it seems like. So and then we're gonna read Judge Bev's decision, which I have here on this very controversial issue, because it's so fucking controversial that we it's so controversial that people want to wear a t-shirt that demands that somebody get a fair trial and somebody get a fair investigation. I mean, crazy. Oh my goodness, no. And it's for Cherry, so she gets the whole dance.
I think we got a super dad, super dad. I think we got a super dad, super dad, super dad, super dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super 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 dad. Super dad.
Dawn Breton, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Because the beat is dope. Listen, you could fight it for as much as you want. Okay, you can fight it all you want, but the cock church dance is intoxicating, people. This is a fact that we're all going to have to face. This is not debatable. It's not a question. It just is. The super cuck dance is a thing. It's intoxicating. It's captivating. It's mesmerizing. Okay? Just accept it. Just let it in. Let it into your life. Oh my goodness. Mob or Mab, member for 3 months. Wow, the beat is dope. Yes, it is. Is this a Punky Brewster shirt? Is this a Punky Brewster shirt, Pierre? Did you just fucking really type that and then hit send? I mean, if I had a rubber hose, I would beat you. Oh, wait, we got another one here. Hold on.
I think we got a super dad, super dad. I think we got a super dad, super dad, super dad, super dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
Oh my goodness, hold on. Love it at Sherry D. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, and then it happens.
I think we got a super dad, super dad. I think we got a super dad, super dad, super dad, super dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Carla Mass. Will, I speak for many of us in Massachusetts. Thank you forever being our voices on the internet and making us laugh and keep imitate our Boston accent, which is so spot on. We love you, kid. All right. Thank you so much, Carla Mass. I appreciate you. Man, it was so cool to get to talk to some of you guys too, man. Opening up the phone lines like that. That was fun. I appreciate those of you who called in. It means a lot. All right, so let's go over this real quick. This should be fast. Oh my God! Apparently the super cuck dance bothers Nima. Oh no! Whatever will we do? Stop it! Stop it! Nima's out here trying to troll my chat, talking about go Bev, yeah, yeah, take away my rights. Yeah, pave the way for my First Amendment rights to be stepped all over. Yeah. Oh my God.
I think we got a super chat.
Super chat.
I think we got a super chat.
Super chat.
Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
Street Scroll, thank you. Don't play the song. Just kidding. Play it. Happy birthday, Cherry.
I think we got a super chat.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do it a second time. Oh, thank you very much, Street Squirrel. I appreciate you, buddy. Oh my God, you guys sure make this a lot of fun.
Judge, this is 22 CR 117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Can I have counsel identify themselves for the record, starting with the Commonwealth?
Good morning, Your Honor. Adam Lally for the
Good
Commonwealth.
morning, Mr. Lally.
Good morning, Your Honor. Laura McLaughlin for the Commonwealth.
Good morning, Ms. McLaughlin.
Good morning, Your Honor. Tanis Unetti representing Karen Reed.
Good morning, Ms. Unetti. I'm told that David Unetti's held on trial somewhere else.
He is, Your Honor.
Okay. And good morning, Ms. Reed. All right. So first and foremost, housekeeping. Mr. Lally, what is the status of the DNA?
So, Your Honor, the status of the DNA, as I spoke to the lab a few times over the last couple of days, they actually were able to stay late last night and finish the mitochondrial portion in regard to seeing if they were able to generate a profile from the hair sample.
Can you hear him, Ms. Unetti?
I would actually prefer, Your Honor, if you would take the
Or just,
podium.
yeah.
That's as loud as it goes.
So, Your Honor, just to
Yeah.
begin again, so I
Oh, wait.
spoke to the lab a few times.
That's
over
as
the
loud as it
last,
goes.
Week or so, including this morning. So they were able to stay late last night and finish the generating to see if they could generate a mitochondrial DNA profile for the hair sample. I was informed this morning that they were able to generate a partial profile. They're still in the process of seeing if a full profile can be generated, but they've begun the process of generating a profile from the sample from Mr. O'Keefe.
Yeah, your tax dollars at work, folks. Your tax dollars at work, people. Because now we've got so I wonder how much it costs the Massachusetts taxpayer for the Commonwealth to test whether or not a hair found on John O'Keefe's girlfriend's car belonged to John O'Keefe. Oh my goodness. Crazy that they might find a hair, test it for DNA to ensure that it belonged to John O'Keefe that they found on his girlfriend's vehicle. Yeah. Awesome. I feel so good about this investigation, y'all. I feel so good about all the decisions that are being made. I mean, it all just smells so legit. Wow.
Or as I'm a little unclear, and I responded with some questions just for clarification purposes, because I'm a little unclear of whether or not a partial profile would be something they could do a comparison with in regard to the mtDNA. And then I'm also inquiring as to, so initially what I've been told is that if they were not able to generate a profile, I would have a report on that by the end of next week, and that would essentially be the end of it. However, given this development, I'm not sure, other than they indicated that any sort of report regarding a comparison would likely be sometime after April 16th. And then obviously I asked for clarification, and I'm still waiting that as far as what after April 16th means, as far as are we talking about, the week following or a month later, or what the situation is. So unfortunately, I don't have a ton of clarity, but at least I'm able to tell the court that they were able to generate at least a partial profile from the hair sample.
All right, so trial starts a week from Tuesday. I would entertain a motion to exclude the DNA. All right,
So this dude walks into the fucking salon, or walks into the fucking barber shop, and he's like, "Give me the Fantastic Max." Homeboy walks into the barber shop, and he's like, "Give me the Bizarro Dennis the Menace."
Let's move on to what we have here. All right, so I will hear from the Commonwealth on your motion for a buffer zone and for restricting clothing.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the Commonwealth would ask that the motion be allowed for a number of different reasons. Essentially, what I would submit to the court is that this is not, as the court is well aware, this is not a novel approach. This is something that's been done in other cases and done specifically in other cases in this courthouse. What the Commonwealth would submit is what's been proposed to the courts is an entirely neutral motion, and that it applies equally regardless of viewpoint, regardless of content of signage or clothing items or anything else. The motion the Commonwealth filed is not in essence about any sort of protesters or any sort of presence in regard to them, but more about the jurors and about the jurors' freedom to be free and to come and perform their civic duty free from extraneous influence.
Bro.
You're lying. And you're a piece of shit.
That's fucking facts, McGruber.
We need in this case, obviously, as the court is well aware, a fair and impartial jury. And this is something that extends beyond.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Empanelment of that jury.
Exactly.
As the court is well aware, as the court asks questions or inquires of every jury in every case multiple times a day about whether or not that they've been exposed to any sort of extraneous influences, or if they've gone online, or if they've seen things on social media pertaining to the case. And the question I would ask is, how is a juror supposed to truthfully answer that in the negative when they're bombarded with it every single time that they walk in and out of this courthouse? It's not asking for a restriction on free speech or to infringe upon.
Dude, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, okay? Because every other fucking case, every other high-profile case where there are people gathered outside, the judge just simply makes decisions based and factors in whether or not these things. They say, okay, we'll just make sure that nobody talks to any of the jurors, blah, blah, blah. The judge always takes precautions. The judge in literally every other fucking case will simply put people's First Amendment rights first. None of these people are on trial. And I find this really interesting because, like, I mean, they're doing this, but it's as though, I mean, let's ask this question. Since it's the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed, and the Commonwealth decides to file this motion, and then Judge Bev enforces this motion, then how does she enforce it? I mean, does that affect Karen Reed's case in some way? Does she somehow reprimand Karen Reed and her defense team, or do people get arrested? Do people go to jail for wearing a free Karen Reed shirt? Do people have to go to court and set days from their jobs and sacrifice money that could be made that day to go to court for a criminal act? Not to go to court to stand up for their own and exercise their freedom of speech and demand that their elected and appointed officials do better. Not take off the day of work to do that, but take off the day of work because they have to, because they're being charged with a crime. Okay.
Upon someone's first,
like, how are you expecting the people? You're representing the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. You're representing the people. In every other case, it's the people versus Karen Reed. That's why when you say the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed, you mean the people of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts versus Karen Reed. So how is this a good look when you are just fucking, I'm talking Cobra Commandering this shit. That's what this is. This is a fucking, it's not even a Cobra Commander move. It's a fucking Destro move. It's a fucking Starscream move, not a Megatron move. Like the yes man of the bad guy who's jealous and just wants to just implement crazy shit. I want my own power. I will take over. Megatron is not fit to rule. And then they pull some shit like this. When I become in power, what I will do is I will take away everyone's freedoms and they will know who the real ruler is. Like, what kind of evil shit are you trying to, like? Because that's what you're doing. Like, let's just face it. That's what you're doing.
Right. Protesting is going to happen. That's fine. It's just where it happens and how it impacts the jury in this case is what the Commonwealth has concerns about. Another analogy I would make, Your Honor, is to voting place restrictions. Another fundamental right in which there are restrictions as far as signage and footage away from the voting place of how close you can be. That they're not allowed inside the building with signs related to whatever specific candidate you're supporting. You can't go in the voting booth next to somebody, take your candidate sign and shove it in somebody's face while they're trying to exercise their right to vote.
Dude, it is not even close to the same. That made me so fucking mad that he compared the right to vote to the right to free speech or the right to a fair trial. That's fucking insane. Like, you just deal, dude. You can't take away people's fucking right to express their opinions on a case. If it's the people versus Karen Reed, they get to fucking do what they want. They get to say whatever they want. As long as they are in compliance with the laws of the court. I mean, it's not like, God, man, it's so crazy that people are entertaining this bullshit.
What this motion is asking is or seeking to protect is the freedom of the jurors who are called upon to execute their civic duty unfettered from extraneous influence. We're not asking the court to restrict the media or anyone's access to the media. And I would note anecdotally that...
See, that's why Grant was all fucking giddy. He doesn't give a fuck because he doesn't fucking support Karen Reed, and he is considered media, technically considered media, which is ridiculous. I mean, but it is what it is. But it's funny because what's the difference between Grant hashtagging Karen Reed and posting something all over the internet? What is the difference? Right? People in the courthouse or on the courthouse steps can't access Grant's articles, right? Because I mean, you're like, where are you going with this, Will? Like, no, I'm getting somewhere here. So, what is the difference if Grant posts something that everyone in the courthouse and everyone on the courthouse steps has access to, but somebody can't stand there wearing a fucking t-shirt or hold up a sign? What about their freedom of press? Because everybody has freedom of press, literally everybody. So where's their freedom of press? I don't know if he has been or not. He might have been, and I missed that, but that's possible, Kiki. I don't know. Yes, in 5 minutes, Howie Carr will be starting, and then we'll be checking that out.
Year plus, there have been several instances in which jurors on completely unrelated cases have had to receive instructions from the court and been impacted by the activities related to this case every time that it's on. Lastly, what I would submit to the court is really any opposition, or at least the ones that I've seen as far as an amicus, essentially, the reason for the opposition is because there are parties that want to try and see if they can influence the jury.
Now, K-Tech, if you're sitting here trying to say that because they infringed on your right to carry a firearm in a courthouse, okay. Okay. Like, if that's the case, then see, now I don't think that this is what you're doing, but like I think the point you're trying to make is the point that I'm going to make. Because if one is going to argue, well, if they take away your right to carry a firearm in court, well, then they're going to, I mean, that should pretty much pave the way for them to be able to take away your right for anything as far as court goes. But the thing is you could carry a firearm outside of the courthouse. There's no metal detectors outside of the courthouse. So, you know, as Mark Randazza said on Turtle Boys, it's her courtroom. I mean, inside the courtroom, she can make orders, she can make the rules. It is what it is, whether we like it or not. It just is. It's her courtroom. She can do that. That's what a judge can do. But outside of the courtroom, no. I mean, that's public property. That's everybody's domain to express themselves. So if KTAC is sitting here saying, okay, well, could you point me to a court where I could where we could carry a firearm? No, I mean, probably not. And it's the only right that shall be infringed. Now, if you're justifying taking away your right to free speech, because your right to carry a firearm has been infringed, well, I would submit to you as a borderline libertarian, well, then you should be able to fire. It shouldn't. It's proof that your statement right there and that logic is proof that it's very possible to set a precedent that could just open a floodgate of violations of people's rights. So if someone can't carry a gun near a courthouse, well, then what's to stop them from if they make a law that says you can't carry a gun near a courthouse? Well, what's to stop them from making a law that can take away your freedom of speech? But apples and oranges, though. You know what I mean? Apples and oranges. The fact is, I mean, free speech is absolutely harmless. You factually cannot harm anyone by wearing a free Karen Reed shirt. It is just how it is. It doesn't matter if you're standing on the top step of the courthouse or 500 feet away. It doesn't fucking matter. You cannot hurt someone with a free Karen Reed shirt. Your parrot wearing a free Karen Reed little thing on its back can't hurt someone. So, or at least the thing on its back that it's wearing can't hurt anybody. If that parrot decides to peck your eyes out, that's a different story, but I don't think it's going to do that. It seemed like a very sweet looking parakeet to me. But yeah, I don't want to hear that shit, K-Tac, honestly. Oh, here we go. Hold on, guys. Let's do this. Should be starting any second now.
Love it? Don't worry. MyPillow has a 60-day money-back.
All right, so we got it muted just until Turtleboy comes on, and then we'll give it a listen, as we like to do. All right, let's see. Is he talking here?
Borrowing more dollars.
Okay, he's talking to his
And
engineer.
every
You're going to be
dollar
done
they borrow
after
at
the
interest decreases the
628?
purchasing power of the existing dollars, including your hard-earned savings. So don't get stuck
tell me
holding
the
hot
best way to
potato.
set it up when I
Get
leave.
silver and gold from local Silver Mint in Ware, New Hampshire. And don't forget about silver for barters and trades, like 1/10 ounce fractional silver.
The Kellys are going,
Sorry,
but we still
Howie,
got
what was it?
we still got plenty of them, right?
Yeah.
Better strap yourself in. It's
All right, he's about to start now.
Prices are still high. Price of gasoline is still high. The Biden administration announced that it's going to pull back its plans to refill the SPR, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. This summer could be a tough summer if you want to drive somewhere. Well, I think the theory of the case is pretty simple. The president's done a good job.
right. Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
We're down in crime in the subway system, folks, for the first quarter. We're down.
New numbers from the NYPD show an uptick in subway crime.
Man's in the hospital tonight after being hit with some sort of metal object when getting off the subway.
A shocker on the subway. A group of people attacked by a stranger with fire.
If you don't feel safe because you see this disorder going on, then you're going to say that, hey, we're not safe.
I'm in danger.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Still have gift certificates left to Kelly's Roast Beef, the Florida locations only in Sarasota, Naples, and South Pasadena. $50 gift certificates for just $25. They're good. If you're back in New England, you can still get them for use when you return to Florida. And they're opening 3 new locations in the coming months on the west coast of Florida. Go to HowieCarShow.com to get your $50 gift certificates for $25 to Kelly's Roast Beef locations in Florida. All right, so the Karen Reed murder trial is getting closer and closer. It starts, jury selection starts on April 16th in Dedham. And Mike Morrissey, the district attorney of Norfolk County, was trying to get a 500-foot buffer, 500 feet, almost 2 football fields, to keep demonstrators away from the courthouse. And today, Judge Auntie Bev,
that's 5 football
Beverly
fields.
Canone, ruled that there's going to still be.
That's 5 football fields. And they crawled through 500 yards of shit-smelling foulness I can't even imagine.
That's 2/3 of a football field instead of 1 2/3.
It's 5 football fields, bro.
That still seems like a lot to me. 844-500-4242.
Well, 500 yards. He was saying 500 yards.
This latest move by the judge and the district attorney is Aidan Kearney, also known as Turtleboy. He's been covering this case for a long time, and he's one of the principals in the case. Aidan, is this really isn't much of a victory, is it, for the First Amendment?
No, the First Amendment is officially over in Norfolk County and no longer exists, Howie. I mean, it's been under assault for quite some time, stemming from my ridiculous, bogus arrest for peaceful protesting and activism, to the Canton Nines threaten of felony charges of the same. And now we have this nonsense, this 200-foot buffer zone, which is more than just a buffer zone, really, Howie. It prevents people from even wearing shirts or clothing or anything that signifies anything about the defendant or anything related to the case, whatever that means, within 200 feet. This is blatantly unconstitutional. The First Amendment no longer exists in Norfolk County. They're getting away with it. I mean, even the ACLU is on our side, Howie, and she still disregarded it. And she said, oh, well, we won't do 500 feet. That's absurd. So they threw out an absurd number to begin with, which was 500. And then they said 200, which is almost as absurd. It's like if they said a mile, then she would say, "Oh, we'll just do half a mile. That's not bad.
Right.
I'm meeting in the middle." No feet. It's ridiculous.
200 feet. That will take it back into private property, won't it? So if you're in a building 200 feet from the courthouse, you can't wear a Free Karen Reed T-shirt or a sweater. Is that what it means? I don't know.
Oh yeah, my bad. I confused feet for yards. That's my fault.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, you're going to be arrested if you do that. You cannot do that. You cannot have anything to do with that. Now we're getting craft. You cannot. This is only going to make our thirst for justice more. We're going to get around it, Howie. We're going to come up with codes. I mean, they didn't say what language. I I assume it's in English. I mean, maybe we can do Free Karen Read in Japanese, in French, in Arabic. I don't know. The more they try to shut us up, the more we're going to keep talking. It's not going to work. People are already planning color days, coded language. I mean, I don't know what. Maybe these people should open a history book up. The more you try to suppress speech and tell people not to say things, the more they're going to want to say those
right.
things. You cannot silence the people. And there's a reason this is happening. There wouldn't be a need to protest if this whole case was in a sham, a corrupt sham to begin with.
What about Nathan the dog? Is he going to be banned from wearing his sweater that says Free Karen Reed?
I read the language. I didn't see anything about any dogs. I also didn't see anything about planes. So I think Nathan the dog is safe. And if we got a plane with a banner on it that said Free Karen Reed, which is entirely possible, something we're looking into, or cars. I mean, what's to stop a parade of cars, Howie, coming through there with Free Karen Reed signs in their windows? Don't tempt us.
At the federal courthouse, it was constructed fairly recently, but they can bring a bus in and bring it around and then bring it into the underground garage. They don't have that option at the Superior Court in Dedham. But I mean, couldn't they bring it? Couldn't they use a bus? For the
back door,
jurors?
Howie. There's a back door. There's a back door. I came in it in shackles a couple weeks ago. It exists. You can just bring the jurors in the back door. It's not brain surgery. It's not complicated. And this idea that a bunch of peaceful protesters wearing Free Karen Reed shirts will somehow influence the jury. This is the whole. You weed this out during jury selection. You say, can you stay neutral in the sight of some 60-year-old woman wearing a Free Karen Reed shirt on the way in? Can you? If you can't stay neutral during that, this isn't the trial for you. That's
Right.
the whole purpose of jury selection, is weeding people out like that.
Right.
You can get 12 people who can kind of tone out the noise, Howie. It's like we have
Right.
a right to peacefully protest. What they don't want these jurors to know is that this is outrageous. They are being part of a case that is outrageous, that is making people upset. And if these 12 people that they end up picking
That's
somehow
all this
have
is
never
about.
heard of this case before, that's exactly how they want it. They don't want anyone who
They
has
got
any
jurors
knowledge
for
of corrupt jobs.
they got jurors for the Boston Marathon bombers. They got jurors for Whitey Bulger. They can get jurors
They
easily
did, and
enough.
they also had
Right.
They also had protesters in favor of Dzhokhar Tsarnaev outside of the federal courthouse. Howie.
Yeah,
Remember those
the
ladies?
groupies,
Yeah,
the would-be groupies. Yeah, I remember that.
The groupies. So the terrorist gets, he gets protesters, but Karen Reed doesn't. And honestly, I think her lawyer their lawyers today, they took a neutral position on it, which I get it, because there has been so much of a push by the Commonwealth to associate the dastardly Karen Reed with Turtleboy and say that, oh, actually, she's pulling the strings. She's getting him to do all this, quote unquote, witness intimidation. She's the one behind it. And so I think they want to, make it clear that, well, we're not, because if they had gone on record and said, oh, yeah, they have a right to protest. We wanted to protest. They'd say, oh, see, they're directing witness intimidation.
Right.
That's how.
Yeah, no, I understood why they didn't take a position on that. Let me ask you about something else. The Boston Globe has filed a motion asking for the release of the impounded defense motion to dismiss. I think you said in the tweet, what took them so long? I mean, why are they interested now? I mean, this motion was filed about a year ago, right?
No.
Yeah, the motion to dismiss was only filed a few weeks ago, I believe, or maybe a little longer. But yeah, it's been impounded, which is just insane that we can't see the motion to dismiss. I mean, it's probably the most important motion filed in this entire case, and we can't see it. We don't know what's in it, and they're hiding it. And Howie, they've impounded everything in this case. I wrote an affidavit in July after the McCabe brother threatened to bury my corpse in Auntie Bev's seaside cottage, And I filed wrote an affidavit in support of the defense in the motion to recuse the judge with that. And you go on the court, mass course, you can't even read it. My own affidavit is impounded. You can't even read it. My own words. It's just like, and I called the clerk up and Jim McDermott, some hack over there, and I got him on the phone and I said, "Why is this impounded?" And he just said, "Because." That's it. Just because. That's it. And they're just so arrogant that they're like, you know what? We have the power, peon, because we have all the guns and we run things around here. And you're just going to sit there and have your rights violated. And you're not going to do anything about it.
Jerry, stop it.
How long do you think it's going to take to pick a
I'm going to
jury?
put you on timeout.
I mean, I think it'll take probably 2 days. That would be my guess. But, there isn't a jury on earth that could convict Karen Reed. Not a single jury once they see the evidence here. This is going to be the fastest acquittal in the history of criminal justice. And John O'Keefe will never get justice as long as Karen Reed is the only one who stands trial for this.
All right. Turtleboy, let me ask you about the Canton elections. I mean, it hasn't gotten a lot of publicity, but I told people last night that they're the two sort of reform candidates for selectmen. One of them won and one of them didn't. So kind of a mixed verdict for Karen Reed supporters.
It's weird. You would think that it would be a joint package thing. I mean, I don't know who is the person that voted for one of the reform candidates,
They must
not
have
the
forgot to
other,
fix
but
one
there's
of
a
them.
few hundred of them that did that. They probably bullet voted. But yes, I mean, it's good. I mean, the chairman's out. This old fogey who's been on there since the beginning of time, Tom Theodore. So, change takes time. And it's a good thing. And I think it was more of like a referendum. I mean, we got first and third, and they got second and fourth. So that's, in my view, we won.
So what happened with the other candidates? Didn't you have a school board candidate too? School committee?
Yeah, but that wasn't a woman by the name of Jennifer O'Donnell, real nice lady. But that election, the school committee one wasn't the school committee, whoever the incumbent was. I mean, she's not the one, giving the police a new contract, so they kind of have not been on our radar at all. I don't even know what the top issues with education and Canton is. I'm more really into the.
And she's the one who takes your candidate or the reform candidate, quote unquote. She's the one who takes the sign to the meetings, right? So she may have been regarded as a little further out there than say Trish Boyden.
Oh no, she doesn't bring a sign. I mean, she speaks. She calls out Chris Albert. So they've all done it. So I'm not sure who the sign woman is, but I don't think that's her, to my knowledge.
Okay, and so Chris Albert has another year left on the
2 years. 2 years. John Connolly, the guy that looks like he's one hoagie away from a heart attack. That guy.
John Connolly, the guy that doesn't like random citizens showing up at the town
really
hall.
Doesn't like it. Oh my God, that poor guy. He looks like you left a burrito in the microwave for too long. That guy. Oh my God, he looks like he's about to explode. But yeah, he's up for re-election next year, and then the other two schmoes are the year after that. So we're stuck with Chris Albert for 2 more years.
All right. So where can people go? When's your next YouTube live broadcast?
Saturday night, we're setting up our Ratchet Madness tournament for Canton. We have a 64-person tournament, and we're going to have we vote on who should advance until you get to the Final Four or whatever. You can check it out on Turtleboy Live on YouTube. On Twitter, I am at Dr. Turtleboy, and tvdailynews.com is the website.
And that's where you can find out where to donate, because Turtleboy is still jammed up with these silly charges against him, at least until Karen Reed is acquitted.
Right, that's correct. So every dollar counts. Appreciate it, Howie.
All right, Aiden Kearney, Turtleboy, thanks for checking in. So the buffer zone is now not 500 feet for demonstrators outside the Karen Reed trial, which begins in about 12 days or so. It's going to be 200 feet. 200 feet, and it only covers human beings, though. We don't think it covers dogs. There's no mention of the canines, including Nathan the wonder dog. Spring is here, and so is allergy season, which is why you need the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier 3-pack. Paul Rizzo from Rizzo Insurance just ordered another 3 with code Howie3. He uses them in both his home and office, and he also buys them as gifts. It's not a surprise that everyone wants and loves the Thunderstorm due to how well it works and how affordable it is. Dave Hinchy has one in every room at the Nauset Beach Inn. Dr. Matt the vet swears by them. Not only does it help with pollen in your home, but with the USB cable, you can use it in your car as well. Every time you open that door to your home or car, pollen is coming inside. Pollen can give you itchy eyes, a sore throat, or just overall feelings of fatigue. Take care of the air inside your car with the Thunderstorm Air Purifier. The Eden Pure 3-pack is small enough to hold in your hand and doesn't take up any floor space. It also doesn't need filters, and that saves you both time and money. For pet odors, cooking smells, tobacco, musty basements, and so many more lousy odors, you need the Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack. I have one in several rooms, and it's always great. It keeps things smelling fresh and like a thunderstorm in the summer. Back in stock now. Order now at EdenPureDeals.com. Use code Howie3. That's the number 3, and get yours now. That's EdenPureDeals.com, code Howie3.
It was just pollen.
I'm Howie
good.
Carr.
The Howie Carr Show will be right back.
So, I mean,
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Jake Rooney.
I don't know if he's sticking around or not, but we'll check back to see if he is. But Howie was just like, yeah, pollen fucking sucks. But yeah. So yeah, I don't think he's coming back either. Because he usually is like, hey, you got a few minutes, take some calls. But no, yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Right. Yeah, I think that's it. But always appreciate Turtle Boy's take on these things. So now pollen, tree ejaculate. Yes, absolutely. It absolutely is. Yeah, totally. I could totally wear my Tiffany shirt. Of course I could wear my Tiffany shirt. Can't believe somebody asked if that was Punky Brewster. So now, oh man, I mean, like, it's okay. I'm trying not to think about it. I'm not gonna deny that part of the motivation for going live twice in one day is to not think about the food that I want to. I actually, like, after the first live, like, I watched a little TV and then I took a nap, and then and during my nap I dreamed that I was at a restaurant with strangers and eating really tasty food. It was a bummer. And I wonder, you know what I just realized? I wonder if, like, because, like, I ended my last stream with Tom and all of the protesters sitting in a restaurant, if that affected my dream subconsciously. But, like, I was totally, like, yeah, dreaming about, like, eating food, even like in detail. Like, there's somebody, they sent me like a somebody got me a big dessert, and I was like, no. Like, I sent it back in my dream. I sent it back. I was like, listen, working too hard on this diet. I think it's really nice that somebody bought me this, but I don't want it, and I'm not going to eat it. And then, like, everybody kind of gave me a dirty look, and I was just kind of like, what do you want me to do? So yeah, that totally happened. Oh my God, cheesecake. Oh, that's good stuff. All right, let's see.
Carr, and he's back.
Sorry, I'm checking to see if anything. No.
Today's poll question is brought to you by FlipLock.
Poll
You
question.
may already have a home surveillance system, but what's going to physically stop an intruder from breaking down your door? The original FlipLock is the answer. It's simple to use and is rated to stop up to nearly 1,700 pounds of force. That's a lot a lot more than a bolt lock or a chain lock will do, a chain bolt. Learn more at fliplock.com.
Yeah, I straight up
That's
turned it down. Like, I'm not even trying to lie, Scott McGinnis.
FLIPLOK.com, FLIPLOK.com. Jared, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Today's poll question, which you can vote in at HowieCarShow.com, is Secretary of State Antony Blinken wants NATO to...
Yeah, okay, bye. So, and thank you, Howie Carr, for always giving Turtle Boy a mic. Appreciate you, buddy. So we're gonna go back to this thing. Yeah, I know.
Boo, you suck.
Submitting in whatever form or modifications the court deems appropriate based on the Commonwealth's proposal. But what we're essentially asking for is to allow the jury to execute their duties in this case, both during the impanelment process and throughout the course of the trial as they're hearing evidence, and not be subjected to extraneous influences, regardless of the viewpoint of those extraneous influences during the course of the exercision of that duty. For those reasons, Commonwealth would ask that the motion be allowed.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Unetti.
Thank you.
Turtle Boy's just like, bullshit. Fuck this guy.
Your Honor, I have three things that I would like to put on the record for this court. First, please note that we do not control these protesters. This has been an organic movement that arose because ordinary citizens were made aware of the case and apparently agree with us that the prosecution of Karen Reed is unjust. Speaking out against injustice is a fundamental American right. My client is appreciative of the support that she has received and continues to receive, but we in no way dictate or instruct anyone to do anything.
Now, yeah, keep in mind, folks, because I realize that when Miss Yannetti sat up there to argue this, it's very important. Some might look at it like, oh my God, why isn't she speaking up for the people? Why isn't she speaking up for their right to protest? Well, it's because it's not in Karen Reed's best interest to stand up there and fight for protesters. She's fighting for her life as it is. She doesn't control and she doesn't have any say over what anybody is doing out there. Now, it's also important on a legal aspect why Miss Yannetti is stating this and stating her position here and being very clear about it. That's going to be the court's decision to make, and they're making it clear it's not going to make any difference on our efforts to defend our client, the defendant. It's not going to make any difference in defending Karen Reed, whether or not people are out there protesting. It has no bearing on the case. If she were to sit up there and say something like, hey, the people have the right. If Miss Yannetti, someone who is representing Karen Reed in this trial, sits up there and says, the people have a right to protest the people, she's not up there to protect your First Amendment rights. If she does that, then it looks like she has an agenda. It looks like Karen Reed has an agenda and is having some sort of say and impact over and some sort of control over the crowd that is forming out there. It's important that the public understands that these people that are standing out there are doing this on their own for their own reasons, because they have their own gripes with the people who they have appointed and elected. So, or the people that have been appointed and the people that they have elected and the people that they pay their taxes to support and pay their paychecks. It's not about Karen Reed's defense. It has nothing to do with Karen Reed's defense. And the fact that Michael Morrissey would even file that motion in the first place just speaks volumes. And it's almost as if they were trying to trap Karen Reed into doing that. Because what's going to happen, you have to also keep in mind, make no mistake that once this trial is underway, Michael Morrissey and Lolly are going to attempt to convince the jury that there is some sort of backdoor, shut up, Jerry, coordination between Karen Reed and Turtleboy in organizing these protests, which it has nothing to do with Karen Reed. Karen Reed has nothing to do with these protests, at least not to my knowledge. I don't see how that would be a good look for her if that were to become something that becomes, public. If that becomes revealed in some way that Karen Reed had some sort of control over the organization of these protests, well, that's not a good look. But the thing is, if they're trying to prove that there's some sort of jury tampering taking place, the prosecution is reaching. What they don't seem to realize is that trying to prove something that ridiculous when there is no proof of it, because it hasn't happened. But if you're reaching to that extent, what that tells me is the prosecution does not feel confident in their case against Karen Reed. They don't feel confident in the evidence that they already have. And they shouldn't feel confident in the evidence that they already have. There's nothing to feel confident about. Every bit of evidence that they are claiming to be a smoking gun against Karen Reed is riddled with holes. It's not, it's bullshit. It's total bullshit. I mean, look, the hair, they're sitting here, they're spending taxpayers' money on trying to get a DNA profile off of a hair that was found on Karen Reed's vehicle and prove that it belonged to John O'Keefe. It was his girlfriend's car. I don't know how many times I have to say it. So what if he had hair? It's easily disproven. It easily creates doubt. The defense can easily spin doubt off of that. Well, how do you explain the hair that was found that belongs to John O'Keefe? The DNA profile proves that the hair belongs to John O'Keefe. If I'm Yannetti or Jackson, I'm like, well, it's his girlfriend's car. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, it's his girlfriend's car. Let me ask, is there anybody here on this jury who hasn't helped their loved one, hasn't helped their significant other put groceries in the trunk of the car? Is there nobody who has helped their significant other with something with their car? Put something inside the car, went to the car to get something out, sat in the car, sat on the bumper of the car, and talking to somebody outside your driveway? I mean, finding John O'Keefe's hair on this vehicle means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. It's the stupidest thing in the world. It's the biggest waste of time and taxpayer money that, I mean, right. They're making a big stink about the hair because it's going to be thrown out and unable to be argued. So they do the damage now during the theory in court of public opinion. Right. Yeah. I mean, as far as I know, it was hair, Benjamin John. If I remember that they said something about that in the opposition to dismiss. Well, based on the opposition to dismiss, yes, it was just DNA, but they're trying to test hair that was found on the vehicle. So
this is what they're talking about. They're trying to get a DNA profile on hair that was found. I'm assuming that it's the DNA, the partial DNA. I am making an assumption here, but I mean, right. And who found the hair? Like, and they've got a partial DNA match, which means nothing. That's my point. Is if they come out with a full-on DNA match that it's John O'Keefe's, what does that prove? That proves fucking nothing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Cherry, you know we love you.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
Scott McGinnis, thank you so much. Even if the planted hair on the planted tail light proved to be John O'Keefe's hair, they live together. Thank you, Sarah, for the cash app. Appreciate it. They lived together and he rode in the car, right? So what? That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they didn't plant the hair. They wouldn't need to plant a hair of John O'Keefe's on the vehicle. John O'Keefe's hair should be all over that fucking vehicle. And then there's 3 DNA profiles on the taillight. Right. I wonder how many of those I wonder which of those DNA profiles belong to Michael Proctor. Did he touch the shit without gloves? Oh my goodness. No.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super.
Sherry D, thank you so much. One more time, you got it. Yeah, good question. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, and thank you, Dana. Big shout out to Dana. And and that's for all you superstars that Dana's shouting out to everyone who is out there today braving the weather. It's cold. It's like that here in Tennessee too. It's cold and it's nasty. It sucks today in Tennessee. It's gross. Now, let's continue listening to this. Yes, Dana, Tracy, Paul, Scott, all you guys are fucking amazing.
These are strictly citizens invoking their right to free speech. Second, while we question whether the Commonwealth's motion is constitutional, we are taking no position on this issue. In our view, this is between this honorable court and the general public.
Right.
So, and I share your view. I think this is something that frankly could have been done administratively, but I want.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's even admitting, like, even Bev is admitting, like, why was this done through emotion? Like, why the fuck is this being done through emotion? Why do what type of message are you trying to send to put me in an awkward position to where I have to rule on people's fucking right to assembly and free speech?
Wanted to give the defendant an opportunity to be heard. So you're not taking a position on it?
No, we believe that this is between the Commonwealth and the Constitution.
Yeah, why the fuck would she take a position on it? Why would Karen Reed or anybody on her defense team take a position on whether or not people hang out outside? The fuck?
In this honorable court in the general public, and that while the ACLU has filed something, members of the public have filed something, they will speak to the constitutionality of this, And other than receiving our sympathy and our blessing, we are not joining in their argument. Again, we're taking no position. And I want to make clear that our position, our intent is and always has been that we are going to win this case inside the courtroom. Your Honor, that is what we're going to do. We're going to win this case inside the courtroom. And with that, I'll waive further argument.
There you go.
So
We
I
don't
have
need the
received
public.
something.
I mean, dude, she is on. Yeah, she's on fire, stating simple facts. We plan on winning this case inside the courtroom. We don't need a PR team to do that. You know, like Chief Rafferty. We don't need PR people to speak for us. We want, since you're putting us in a position to talk to the jury, well, then guess what? The jury is going to hear everything that we have to say. All of the exculpatory evidence that we already have, the jury's going to hear about it. Oh my God.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate you. Yeah, this is just ridiculous.
Something styled a citizen's motion to intervene. And I think criminal counsel surely knows that unlike civil, there is nothing in the mass rules of criminal procedure that supports intervention in a criminal case. But I've read the memo. I received it yesterday and I've read it. I am not going to hear from counsel. I do want to say, and quoting the appeals court.
See, I think that's fascinating. Like, why would she? Karen Reed's defense does not represent the people that are gathering outside. They've hired counsel for that. The people that are standing outside, the people who have hired counsel. Now, Mark was hired by certain members, people of the Canton Nine. Mark represents the Canton Nine. Mark Dazzling Randazza represents the Canton Nine, but he's also representing everyone out there, not officially, but he's fighting for their rights. And if they're the ones who would have to argue, why would Karen Reed argue that? That makes no sense that Karen Reed would argue and oppose this position, but she wouldn't hear from the people who actually have skin in that particular game. She's not going to hear from Randazza, which it doesn't sound to me like Randazza was actually expecting her to, based on his interview with Turtleboy. But I'm guessing, you know, what I'm trying to understand is you know, you're gonna give Karen Reed's counsel the opportunity to speak on the matter when they have no position on the matter. You know, they have no position on the matter. You know, Karen Reed has no position on the matter. But yet the person who does have a position on the matter, the attorney who has been retained, has a position on the matter, and you wouldn't let him speak, even though he showed up in order to do so. That just tells me everything that I need to know about Judge Bev. Why wouldn't she just let the guy speak? Why? Because she did not like his colorful language in the motion. That's what I think.
Intervention is a concept foreign to criminal procedure. Now, apparently the Civil Liberties Union of Massachusetts, understanding that, filed a motion to
Yeah, I remember him mentioning appellate court when he was talking to Turtleboy, if she denies it. But he also expected that she would come up with some weird bullshit compromise on the buffer zone, and here we are.
file an amicus curiae memorandum. So that motion is allowed. And I have read the ACLU brief, and frankly, I find it very helpful, and I've been persuaded by many of the points in there.
I just for the record, because you know I have an aspiring political career, so I just want it on record that I love the ACLU, and thank you ACLU for chiming in, and I love what you said here.
But
So I don't need to hear from anybody, and the ACLU, I think, did a great job in their memo, and I understand their position. So it's
I mean, you can't give a little love to Randazza. Randazza gave, I mean, I thought what he said was fucking beautiful. Of course, you wouldn't, but I mean, you're only going to give props to the ACLU and not Randazza for his motion? I mean, dude, lady. Y'all are killing me in the
undisputed
chat.
that under our system of government, the people's right to
Uh-oh.
protest is preserved under the First Amendment, as is the.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
Thank you, Paul Cristoforo. Not sure if this was mentioned, but with this order, you can't protest anything within 200 feet. We can't even protest Cherry, nothing within 200 feet. Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. I have not gone over the motion yet, or the decision yet, in detail. I have it here. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go over it. But thank you, Paul. Appreciate you, and we love everything you're doing out there. Thank you for the hard work, and thank you for standing up for everyone's rights. Appreciate you.
Consider, of course, this very important constitutional right. But the bedrock principle of the trial court is assuring a defendant, it is and it must be assuring the defendant a right to a fair trial, which includes a right to a fair and impartial jury, which by definition is a jury free from any outside influence. So my focus has to be on having the.
So I'm going to talk to you like it's your first time residing over a case, Judge Bev, even though I know it isn't. But since you're acting like it's your first time residing over a case when it comes to this issue, all you have to do is instruct the jury to not be influenced by any outside entities. It's real simple. You give jury instructions. Like every time. Stay off the internet. Every trial that I've ever talked about, every trial I've ever covered, the judge says, you're not to go on the internet. You're not to turn on a TV. You're not to do this. Talk to your family. Talk to anybody about this case. Right? And everybody that you see outside holding signs, you do not allow them to sway your decision. We need to know that you can decide this case impartially. I mean, it's not that hard. You absolutely just give, and during jury selection, you ask these questions. Can you make a decision regardless of any outside entities that you may overhear or see? I mean, it's crazy that she's acting like, oh, well, that's never happened before. That's not what they do. Of course, that's what they do.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat.
Thank you, Eric Evans. Great question here. What evidence do you think Lolly will try to get tossed out before trial in the motion? In the timeline, in timeline. I think you meant timeline. In the motion time. Okay. I don't know. That's a good question. I think we're just gonna have to wait to see. But I think that they're gonna try to get everything tossed out. Anything. Here's the thing. Let me explain to you guys real quick. And oh my God, Peggy, thank you so much for gifting 20 memberships. I'm not going to read all the names, but congrats to all of you guys. All right. Thank you so much, Peggy. No, I'm really glad that you asked this question, because here's the thing is much of the evidence that could be considered exculpatory was discovered via Turtleboy and his investigations. This is why they tried to seize Karen Reed's phones. This is why they're trying to lump Karen Reed and Turtleboy together as far as doing something nefarious and trying to pin Turtleboy's attempts to sway the public opinion on Karen Reed. They're trying to pin that on Karen Reed because they don't have anything. So this is interesting because this brings me to my point where I believe that Karen Reed, and I've made this point a few times, Karen Reed, her defense is going to present certain evidence, and this brings me as to why I truly believe that this was a chess move on the part of Michael Morrissey's office, which was to hire an independent, not independent, but a special prosecutor being Ken Mello. So they hire this special prosecutor who's outside of this and has nothing to do with the Karen Reed case because it looks really good on paper. And it really looks really good when Lolly stands up there telling a jury, well, he was charged with intimidating witnesses. And I'm not even charging him with that. I'm not even prosecuting that. That has nothing to do with anything. There's another prosecutor on that. He's on a completely separate case. Turtleboy, this person who supposedly found this evidence, that it's not credible. This evidence just isn't credible because in a completely separate case, he was charged with witness intimidation. And he did 60 days in jail because he's a woman beater, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. So the whole point, everything that Mello did was absolutely calculated. V13, thank you for the cash app. I appreciate it. Everything that Michael Morrissey's office did in regards to Turtleboy was absolutely calculated and was of the purpose, in my opinion, I absolutely believe was of the purpose for that moment in time where they have to take Turtleboy's, because they can't disprove his investigations. They can only discredit the source. That's the best they can do, is to try to discredit the source. So once they discredit the source, then the jury will will side-eye that evidence and go, oh, well, I don't know. But that's going to be a question of how far is Karen Reed's defense willing to go in order to defend Turtleboy's credibility and to defend the credibility of the evidence that he discovered and that they are going to use. I would imagine that they're going to try to use as little evidence that Turtleboy is responsible for uncovering as possible. That's what I believe. Personally, that's what I believe. Oh my goodness.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got...
Jen, thank you so much again. I appreciate you. Right. It was absolutely a calculated move on Michael Morrissey's office, which is under federal investigation, to do this. And so they could absolutely prove that Turtleboy was railroaded for this purpose if they take the time to show the jury all of the evidence. Now, I don't know how much time they want to take out of the Karen Reed trial to prove that Turtleboy's findings are credible. And I don't know how much time that's going to take. And I don't know if they're even willing to do that. But I'm hoping so. But this isn't about Turtleboy. None of this, as far as Karen Reed's case goes, and what's going to happen here in trial, very little of it is going to be about Turtleboy. What's going to be about Turtleboy is going to be what the prosecution tries to present about Turtleboy. Turtleboy this, Turtleboy that, witness intimidation, blah, 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 blah. The prosecution has already put his name on paper and on the record when it comes to this case. And that was their whole opposition, basically, for disqualification. I know you are, but what am I? In the motion to disqualify, they're like, well, Morrissey made this unprecedented public statement where he lied, but also there was no other purpose behind it but to win. There was no interest in justice behind making that public statement. There was no interest in justice behind that. So their opposition motion was like, oh, well, they did it. Well, what about what Turtleboy did? And we have Karen Reed's phones, and they were in communication. So what if they were in communication? He's a journalist and she's a source, period. Done. Bottom line. So it's tough because the defense isn't there to argue. Karen Reed's defense is not paid, and they are not there to argue people's First Amendment rights. It's not what they're there to do. There are lawyers assigned to address this. Timothy Bradle is a First Amendment attorney. Mark Randazza is a First Amendment attorney. So they're not going to be testifying in this case. They're not going to be. They might. I mean, I don't see why they would, but she's not even hearing them. So I don't see why they would. But I'm saying they're not going to have anything to do with Karen Reed's trial. Oh my God, you guys are killing Cherry today.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got.
DA Meatball Morrissey can dirty up Turtleboy all he wants. That still doesn't eliminate Fed investigative findings. The feds were ahead of Turtleboy on the cover-up. Agreed. That's also a great point. Thank you, Scott McGinnis, for that. That's an excellent point because the FBI federal investigation took place long before Turtleboy. All Turtleboy is doing is all Turtleboy's investigations did, for the most part, like if the defense wants to present it that way, all he did was legitimize the reasons why District Attorney Morrissey is under federal investigation. That's what Turtleboy's investigations have basically legitimized in the court. In Morrissey's office is under investigation. He basically said, look at this. This is why. Look at this. This is why. Look at the relationship between the Proctors and the McCabe's. This is why Michael Morrissey's office is under investigation, because he knew about it. And that's just a drop in the bucket as to what DA Morrissey's shady dealings are.
Having this jury hear the evidence and the law and decide this case based solely on the evidence and the law that is heard here in this courtroom. I have to balance the rights of protest. The law is very clear on this. Sometimes these are competing interests. But in balancing them, in weighing all the factors, I do find that an external buffer zone is appropriate and that we do need prudent regulation on in-court expression. But the 500 feet is far too excessive. So I recognize that my obligation.
Thank you, Bob Brown, for the PayPal. I appreciate you, buddy.
The rights of all people to protest in a meaningful way, while ensuring, above all here, that this case is decided fairly based on the evidence without any undue interference from outside.
Thank you, Bob Brown. I appreciate you, buddy.
In accordance with the law. And that's what I will do. So I will have a written order and a very short decision on this by tomorrow, but hopefully by this afternoon. So I will see you all next week. And I intend to go through all the motions in limine on Friday. I would like council to consider how you want to do impanelment. If there is a request for a questionnaire, it needs to be a supplemental questionnaire. Council need to work together. It needs to be one side, one page,
That's
two
awesome.
sides, no longer.
I will, Bob.
Council
I'm
work
just waiting for this to
together,
be over.
And if you cannot agree on a questionnaire, then part one of the questionnaire will be what you agree to. Part two of the questionnaire will be what the Commonwealth wants and the defendant objects to. And part three will be what the defendant wants and the Commonwealth objects to. And it must all be on one page. So I'll see you all next Friday.
Goodbye.
All right, so there's that. And Bob Brown in his PayPal said, Will, we got fooled by the prosecution over the bullshit 500-foot motion. They must be laughing. This made Bev look fair, saying 200. Right. Yeah. Don't worry. We're going to get into all of this. And I'm sure the ACLU is going to be like, no. So let's see. We've got how many pages is this? Short. So let me just read this. The Commonwealth seeks an order from this court establishing a buffer zone around the Norfolk Superior Court. Around the Norfolk Superior Courthouse in Dedham during the trial of the defendant, in which demonstrations related to the case would be prohibited, and prohibiting any individual from wearing any clothing or insignia related to the case in the courthouse during trial. While the court recognizes and appreciates the constitutional right of the people to peacefully protest under the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, the defendant has a right to a fair trial by an impartial jury under the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution. You see how that's twisted? Like it's somehow cheating Karen Reed out of a fair trial. Like, these are people who are demanding that Karen Reed's rights be recognized and not be overlooked. The demonstrations are to let the American public know that her rights, her basic American rights, are being violated. So don't sit here and act like, oh, well, it's to protect her rights. No, they're not to protect her rights. They're not to protect her rights. You're stifling people from their opinion because the evidence there is an overwhelming amount of evidence that makes people have questions. There's an overwhelming amount of evidence that begs, demands questions as to how this investigation was conducted. And that investigation was conducted in a manner of which robbed Karen Reed of her Sixth Amendment rights. The investigation robbed Karen Reed of her Sixth Amendment rights. The people are expressing their First Amendment rights. They're exercising their First Amendment rights in expression to their grievance against Karen Reed's violation of her Sixth Amendment rights. That's all this is. Stop trying to make it something that it's not. And I'll explain that one more time. The people are exercising their First Amendment right in grievance to Karen Reed's Sixth Amendment rights being violated already by Michael Proctor and the other investigators in this case, followed by, if not during the case, along with Michael Morrissey and his office. The whole situation is corrupt. And Michael Morrissey absolutely
wanted this motion filed because he doesn't want the public turning on him. And it's a little late. While the court recognizes and appreciates the constitutional right of the people to peacefully protest under the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, the defendant has the right to a fair trial by an impartial jury under the Sixth Amendment of the United States Constitution. And it says here, see U.S. Constitution Amendment 6, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy public trial by an impartial jury. Yeah, okay, so instruct the jury to be impartial. It's simple. This right ensuring the defendant a fair trial has also been characterized as a basic requirement of due process. To ensure the defendant's right to a fair trial, the court must restrict protected speech so long as the restrictions do not burden substantially more speech than is necessary to further the government's legitimate interests. Ward versus Rock against racism. Okay, to ensure the defendant's right to a fair trial, the court must restrict protected speech so long as the restrictions do not burden substantially more speech than is necessary to further the government's legitimate interests. That's ridiculous. In this case, it is well documented that protesters have shouted out witnesses and confronted family members of the victims, of the victim. Individuals have also taken to displaying materials which may or may not be introduced into evidence during trial and airing their opinions as to the guilt or innocence of the defendant on their clothing or on signage. Witness intimidation has also been a prevalent issue in this case. Given those past actions, the court concludes there is a substantial risk that the defendant's right to a fair trial will be jeopardized if prospective jurors are exposed to the protests and messages displayed on signs or otherwise, particularly before the court has had an opportunity to instruct the jurors about their obligations with regard to remaining fair and unbiased. The risk extends during trial, where jurors and witnesses would have no choice but to be exposed daily to the messages and viewpoints of the protesters when entering and leaving the courthouse or sitting in the courtroom. Again, that's why you instruct them during jury selection. You ask them, are you able to avoid being influenced by the commotion that's taking place outside? Because I'm not about to cheat these people of their right to protest. That's what you do. Simple. The defendant here is entitled to a fair trial with an impartial jury, free from outside influence, focused solely on the evidence presented in the courtroom during trial and the applicable law. To protect this right, the court must reduce the risk of exposing witnesses or jurors in this case to such outside influences. Wow. You instruct them to. That's what you do. Like every other case, like literally every other fucking trial, you instruct the jurors to not be influenced by what's going on outside. It is hereby ordered that no individual may demonstrate in any manner, including carrying signs or place cards within 200 feet of the courthouse complex during trial of this case, unless otherwise ordered by this court. This complex includes the Norfolk Superior Courthouse building and the parking area behind the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds building. Individuals are also prohibited from using audio enhancing devices while protesting. So basically, you can't use a bullhorn. It is further ordered that no individuals will be permitted to wear or exhibit any buttons, photographs, clothing, or insignia related to the case pending outside or pending against the defendant or relating to any trial participant in the courthouse during the trial. Law enforcement officers who are testifying or are members of the audience are also prohibited from wearing their department issued uniforms or any police emblems in the courthouse. Okay. I mean, yeah, this is bullshit. I mean, it didn't say anything about animals, but obviously if you've got a dog on a leash, and your dog has got a free Karen Reed little, onesie on, then, and you're connected to that dog, they're going to say that you were wearing and presenting this, so
Yeah, it just simply is not. And that's a great point, Microdots. Thank you for that. That is actually a great point. No witness intimidation has been proven. Now, she did word that witness intimidation has become an issue. It is an issue. Like, so she was careful about the way that she worded that, Microdots. I was paying attention to that as I was reading it. She says that since witness intimidation has become an issue, it has become an issue. So she was careful about not wording it like, since there has been witness intimidation that has taken place, the subject of witness intimidation has become an issue, is what she said. As a matter of fact, I want to reread that. It says here, witness intimidation has also been a prevalent issue in this case. Given these past actions, so she could sit here and argue that, well, all I said was that it was an issue. I didn't say that anybody actually did it. It's a prevalent issue. It keeps being brought up. I keep hearing the words witness intimidation. I keep seeing people charged with witness intimidation. So the fact is, it's out there in the universe. It is a prevalent issue by definition. But we all know that, it's bullshit for her to even bring it up. She was just careful about how she worded that, because she knows goddamn well that nobody was convicted of witness intimidation yet. And I mean, again, thank you, Bob Brown, again, for making this point. This is also very fascinating, because that brings me to my point here. Let me do this. I'd rather bring up the oh my God. Okay. So Plevin here, posted this. This is a little irrelevant, but he posts, the state has now submitted the surveillance footage from the CPD garage where Karen's SUV was towed. The garage is under 24-hour surveillance. What will this mean? Almost certainly that the SUV could not have been tampered inside the garage. No more fairy tales about WANless and toolboxes and screwdrivers. Sorry, kids. And there's a good chance that one of these camera angles will show the condition of the taillight. TikTok, one of the most absurd conspiracy theories in history, is about to disappear like April snow. So if you like the snow, enjoy it for a few days. Yeah. And and I love Sean to death. But if I'm being 150% honest, I could give a fuck about the gripe about the taillight the ongoing taillight wars that are taking place between Plevin and Sean. I don't give a fuck about that, because I don't think, and like I said, it's no disrespect to Sean. What I mean is, that's such a small thing. These details and all of this meticulous, arguing over the taillight, it doesn't matter. Like, it's very easy to just poke holes through anything in regards to the taillight. Doesn't matter. As I was discussing with Tom CPU earlier today, Tom CPU made the point. He used the analogy fruit of the poisonous tree. That's what the taillight evidence is. It's fruit of the poisonous tree. The taillight evidence means shit because of where it came from. The taillight evidence means shit because of chain of custody. The taillight evidence means shit because
the lead investigator who has supposedly found this this evidence, it means shit. The lead investigator is under internal affairs investigation by his own department in the Massachusetts State Police. He's under investigation because of his lack of procedure, of following procedure. So, and I'll get to that in just a second, Scott McGinnis. I mean, you look at something like the fact that all you have to do is look at the fact that what's his name, Berkowitz, just randomly fucking found this piece of taillight. The first piece of taillight wasn't found till days later. And then Berkowitz finds another piece randomly. He just happened by, like, oh shit. Look at that. A piece of taillight. Calls up fucking Higgins. Why does he call up Higgins? He's not involved in the case, except for the fact that he was inside 34 Fairview and is being accused of having an affair with Karen Reed. Right? So that's weird. Then you've got Proctor, who finds all these other pieces of taillight and doesn't document any of the searches. 5 undocumented searches. It doesn't matter what those fucking cameras at the CPD are going to say. It doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter if the taillight was already broken, if they broke it inside the garage. It doesn't matter. Anything could have fucking happened. Oh my God.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a
Scott McGinnis, thank you so much. D.A. Morrissey has declared war upon the Free Karen Reed movement, and his top general, Judge Auntie Bev, has fired the first salvo upon we the people's front lines. Cry havoc, let's slip the dogs of war. Strong words there, Scott. Appreciate you, buddy. So yeah, man, that's just fucking ridiculous. But let me go back to what I was looking for here. So here, of course, Olivia puts up a great post and she says, in perhaps the worst irony, Judge Beverly Cannoni, presiding over the Karen Reed case, refuses to hear the people of the Commonwealth or the ACLU on a First Amendment or free speech issue. Right. Judge Cannoni has decided she knows best and doesn't need to hear from either of the two intervening parties, representative of the 7 million citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. One would surmise that at the very least, hearing the people on an issue seeking to violate our most fundamental constitutional rights to free speech might be the very moment the judge realizes the people need, want, and ought to be heard. But apparently the people don't need to be heard on the government's intention to infringe on our rights to free speech, not in Judge Beverly Cannoni's court. Well said, Olivia. Appreciate it. Now, and then I noticed something else. And so Plevin chimes in, and I posted this in my YouTube community because it's unbelievable the logic behind this idiot and what he says. He responds to that tweet saying, would you be saying this if 500 off-duty cops were outside demanding Karen Reed be convicted? Now, there's a lot to unpack in that statement because it shows who Plevin really is. it really shows who Plevin is. Because this isn't about free speech. This isn't an issue for him. He thinks that this is about right. He thinks this is about being right and being validated in being right. That's where his mind is. But that was not the point behind Olivia's post. Olivia's post was saying that the fact that basically the point of Olivia's post was the fact that Beverly Cannoni didn't even care to hear the representatives of the people. She's infringing on the people's rights, and she wouldn't even hear the legal representation of the people to argue their position. Which shows what side, it speaks volumes of what's important to Beverly Cannoni, or Cannoni, however the fuck you say her name. But my response to Plevin when he says this, when he says, would you be saying this if 500 off-duty cops were outside demanding Karen be convicted? I responded, I would be just as loud for anyone exercising their right to free speech, press, or assembly, which your own post begs the obvious question, Plevin. Why aren't there 500 off-duty cops gathered outside the courthouse demanding Karen Reed's conviction? Explain that one. Why are there not 500 off-duty cops standing outside that courthouse demanding justice for John O'Keefe? Now, I'm not saying, because again, that there's two sides to having the right to do something. There's two sides to that coin. The right to free speech, but it also awards you the right to shut the fuck up and keep your mouth shut. So those Boston police officers have every right. Those Boston police officers have every right to stay home and not say shit. But why is it that we always see these men, when there's a fallen police officer and somebody being accused of killing that police officer, why do we always see these men and women standing in full dress uniform in the courtroom, making their presence known? Making their presence known that they want justice for that fallen police officer. Why are we not seeing this from the Boston police? Their comrade in blue is dead. And make no mistake about it, he was murdered. The question is, who murdered him? Because I am of the opinion that if 500 off-duty policemen and women believed that Karen Reed was absolutely guilty of this crime, they would be crowding themselves outside of this courtroom, outside of that courthouse. They would be standing in a row next to the door of the courtroom, letting their presence be known, that they want justice for their fallen comrade. But why aren't they doing that? That also begs the question. Isn't Brian Albert also a veteran of the Boston Police Department? Oh my goodness.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a 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 super.
Oh my goodness. Miss Bell, thank you so much. 3% founding fathers are rolling over. I agree. Because it's not that these Boston police officers don't care. I've seen enough. I've seen enough history in the last 20 years to tell you that typically Boston police officers take very much pride in the uniform and badge that they wear and take pride in their city, take pride in their state, take pride in their sports teams. I mean, I know this. I mean, this is common knowledge. Everybody knows this. Everyone knows this. So why? Because I guarantee you, if you take the Brian Albert factor, the factor that is Brian Albert's existence, out of this entire equation, you would have at least 500 off-duty police officers standing outside of that courthouse, protesting and demanding justice for John O'Keefe. Guaranteed. I can't speak for the Boston Police Department, but it is my opinion. It is my opinion that the Boston Police Department, or at least generally as a whole, the consensus is that they have doubts that Karen Read is guilty. They have doubts. And I think it would be a beautiful, beautiful sight to see off-duty Boston police officers out there and demanding justice for their fallen comrade. I would love to see that. Now, I don't have any say over that. I'm not saying that they're wrong if they don't. I'm saying it's a sight that I would love to see. It would inspire me. It would make me feel better. But I think it's extremely telling. There are no Boston police officers out there demanding Karen Read's conviction. Demanding it. When it was dangling, the case was dangling. When it was possible that this case would have been dismissed and the Norfolk DA would have been disqualified, when that was a possibility, when that was on the table, you'd think that you would see a bunch of off-duty police officers in support of their fallen comrade, making sure that the judge saw that they oppose that Karen Read's case be dismissed. But something tells me that it is not the general consensus within the Boston Police Department that Karen Read is guilty. I find that very, very telling. Anyways, guys, I am going to wrap this up. You guys are amazing and fantastic as always. Thank you guys, all you new subscribers. Thank you guys for hitting the like. Please do so if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel. Thank you guys for all of the support. I love you guys so, so much. And we're just getting warmed up here, folks. I am absolutely looking forward to seeing what dazzling Mark Randazza plans to do, what his next move is. I am dying to know what the ACLU's next move is, because this is clearly an infringement on everyone's First Amendment rights that are standing out there in support of Karen Read or otherwise, but standing on the steps of that courtroom. I would absolutely, in the words of Melanie Little, submit to you that I would like to see even Grant standing on the steps of that courthouse. I would like to see anyone. I don't care what their opinion is. I don't care what they believe in. I would love to see everyone exercising their First Amendment rights on that courthouse, on those courthouse steps. I don't care what position you stand at, as long as you're standing. That would inspire me. Guys, I love you guys very much. Thank you so much for joining me, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.